guys, Lou here from LT's Custom Woodworks. Welcome to the shop. Today, another day, another dollar. Today we are going to be building a wine cabinet, which is perfect for the Christmas holidays. And we're going to be making it out of maple. And then I'll be staining it a dark brownish color. It'll be, I think it's grizzly bear. It's a custom color made. So, simple build, 3 or 4 drawers in the middle, a wine rack, drawer on the right hand side of it, and some shelves in the middle and a drawer on top. So we're going to get started by ripping for the legs, and we're going to start edge banding. Okay, so I cut these pieces at 2 inches wide by 45 inches long. I cut 4 of them. These are going to be the legs. And then I will edge band them. But before I do that, I'm just going to dress up the bottom of the feet a little bit and put an angle on it. So I'm going to measure 1.25 inches in. Sorry, I'm going to measure 1 inch and sideways. Like that. And then I'm just going to pick a bevel. Something that's going to look good. I say there. Might change my mind. We'll take a look. I think that looks okay. So I'm going to cut 4 of them like that. Now that I've cut these corners off, I'm going to edge band it. And I cut that on the miter saw. You can use it on the table saw. You can use a band saw, whatever you prefer to use. I just put them all together and made one cut, and it was done. I'm going to edge band this as well, and both sides. Now I'm using a bit of a wider. I never had a chance to go to my supplier yet. It's a shame because this is so expensive. But I'm going to use it just to get so I can push forward and get this done. It's a little bit challenging when you got a piece that's, you know, 1 inch, 1.25 inches. It's actually 1.25 inches wider than, or 1 inch wider than your piece. I mean, trimming that is a little bit difficult, but I'll manage. I got to make it to my supplier this week, or before the end of the week, that's for sure. Everything's edge band. I marked 1/4 inch, and I'm going to put a dado in here. I got to go 1/4 inch deep, and that's where my panel is going to slide into. On this as well, I'm going to cut a dado all the way down here. I marked where it needs to be, and then I will cut dominoes in to join them and do my glue up. So I'm going to get the table saw set up, ready to cut my dados for my panel. So I'm going to rip my panel. This is 3/16. I'm going to rip it to 14.5. And our length, we're going to cut these 38 inches, 37 and 7/8. Okay, ready for glue up. Any squeeze out that you have with the glue should be cleaned up right behind. Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time sanding it later. I don't glue the panel. That way it can have room to move when it swells and contracts with the weather. We'll put these in clamps, square everything up. That looks really good. Okay, now that these are all dried up overnight, I'm going to take them out of the clamps and I'm going to just give them a nice light sand, ready for the other pieces. Okay, so I've cut my plywood. This is cut at 41 1/4 by 30 1/2. Now I'm going to mark my dominoes on the one side, and then I'll do it the same thing on the other side. I'm going to cut my dominoes in to secure this in place. So, let me get started with marking these. Now we're ready to cut our dominoes into the plywood. I'm going to line these lines straight up and plunge it down. We're going to dry fit this together just to make sure everything lines up properly. The reason, some of you guys are probably thinking, why didn't I just put a dado like I did on these panels? Run a dado all the way along and put a 3/16 panel in between. The reason why I didn't do that is there's going to be a few drawers in the front where you pull out, there's going to be wine bottles. My concern was the weight of those wine bottles, because this panel is so light and you got a thin one on the back. Now the front is going to be too heavy where when you open the drawer, the cabinet's just going to tilt forward. I was a little concerned about that, and the reason for that is because this is only 18 inches deep. If it was like 20, 24, even wider, then I would have no problem with that. But it was my concern about that. So I decided to put a 3/4 inch panel in the back to counterbalance that weight, so when I open that drawer, it's not going to tilt forward. That's why I did it that way. Maybe it would have been okay, maybe not, I don't know. But I didn't want to take those chances. So that's why I did it this way. This is the bottom shelf. I ended up going to, I was at Home Depot today and earlier, and I just picked this up. I got a small roll until I get to my supplier. But at least I don't have to waste that big roll. That sat overnight. I can take it out of the clamps. I will secure this one down. So I ran some clamps. I set this up on the bottom nice and even. I ran a clamp to keep it tight. I'm just going to drive some 1¼ inch pocket screws. Now that the top and bottom is secure in place, I'm going to cut a divider. I'm going to figure out where it's going to go, and there's going to be a divider here. There's going to be a drawer on the bottom, a drawer on the top, drawers on the left-hand side, and I think 1 or 2 shelves in the middle here. So I'm going to cut a piece 17 3/8. By 30 3/4. Now I cut these at 17.5 inches long. I put one at the bottom and I slid my board up against. I'm going to do this one as well, and I'm just going to clamp this down to hold it in place. I'm going to draw a line on the back, and I'm going to drive my screws in from the top and the bottom, and of course there is a top going on here after that as well. I'm going to drill some pilot holes where the center of this board is. I'm going to make sure that this is pushed up against that other board. I took the time to measure out my wine glass holder. I cut these at 2 3/4, push it up against. Push this up against, drive my screw in. And I will go all the way around and make sure that these are all lined up properly and secured in place. I'm going to put a drawer on the bottom here, and this is going to hold whatever wine bottles that are open or any kind of booze, hard liquor, or anything like that. I'm going to put a shim down. This is 1/8 of an inch, 3/16 of an inch. I'm going to put it on each side. I got a 3/4 inch piece that I'm going to use, that I'm going to cut for my drawer front. I'm going to line it up here. I'm going to push this slide to the end of this. I'll screw it into place. I'll do it to both sides. And then I'm going to install all my drawer slides on this side before I start making my all my drawer boxes and stuff. Okay, so I kind of did a little bit of a change here. I didn't like the way it looked. So from 5.5 inches, I actually cut these down and I went to 4 inches. I took 1.5 inches off. I kind of want the wine bottles to show a bit, because this is going to be an open concept. So I decided to do it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drilling in for my pocket holes, get these secured together, and then I'm going to start making my layout on the inside. This is pine. This is cut 1 inch wide, and it's 1 3/8 thick. I'm going to just round off the edges, and then I'm going to wrap this in fox leather. And I will test that to make sure everything's good, and then wrap it after. Okay, so I didn't like the way this looked. It was still too high for me. I wanted the bottles to show a little bit more, so I ended up cutting it down again. So I went to 2 3/8, or 3 3/8. I'm just going to put a couple of pins in here to hold it in place while I pre-drill and drive my screws in. So I decided to go with this color here. It's like a coffee cream kind of grayish color, I guess you can say. So okay, I'm going to screw the ends in first. I'm going to put a pin in a screw, and then I'm going to measure this out and secure these in place. and this is looking pretty good. I'm gonna put this door front on now, and then we can start measuring. I'm gonna probably put 2 more after this one, and that's gonna be it for the wine bottles. I'll go 3 3/4 on this in height, and then this is 17.5 wide tight, but I'm gonna take 1/8 of an inch off and go from there. I'm gonna edge band this all the way around, and then I'm gonna secure this in place. I'm gonna apply this shim on the bottom. I'm gonna center this to where I think it looks good. You can use playing cards, but you can eye it up pretty easily on the first one. I'm going to clamp this down and then secure this in place with screws. I will put one in the middle. And that looks pretty good. Now for the next one, I want this open space, so I might start the next one somewhere around here. Because you want to see the wine bottles. It adds a nice look to it. Before I do that, I'm going to start measuring out where my drawer is going to go, my drawer slides. I'll move my camera around this so you can get a better look. I have to cut a spacer in here so I can screw my drawer slides on. So we're going to take that measurement, cut it on the table saw, rip it the same width as my drawer slides, and secure that in place. Glue it and pin it in place. Do the same thing to this side. Screw my drawer slides on, and then we're ready to build the box. Okay, so these 2 drawers are in. I made another drawer the same. And now I'm getting started with the drawer front, which is 3 3/4. I'm going to edge band and secure this into place. So for the cupboard in here, I'm going to make a higher door from the bottom to this top here. I'm going to pocket hole screw these together. And of course the drawer front will cover all that. I threw some shims on the bottom, slid this into place, made sure they were even on each end, and I'm just going to drive some screws in. And I'm using number 6 1/2 inch. Perfect. Because this has no handles, I want to keep kind of like the same concept with the no handles. So this is measuring at 12 1/8. I'm going to measure 6 1/16. That's going to be to center. I'm going to use this. I'm going to do a cutout. So I got an 1/8 of an inch shim that I cut. And I'm just going to bend this from, I'm going to keep it at corner to corner. And then I'm just going to bend this in. And I'm going to mark that. And that's going to be my handle to pull. And I'll just cut that excess off, edge band everything. She's ready to rock and roll. Now I'm going to take it over to the sander and I'm just going to sand it to that line. And that is looking sexy. I'm using 5mm pins. So I'm just going to drill my holes out for my shelf. Drop our shelf in. And that looks good. Perfect. I'm gonna put a drawer at the top, so I'm gonna make it out of 1/2 inch plywood, and I'm gonna put a 3/16 bottom. So I'm gonna cut some sides here at 15 inches, and I'm gonna probably bring it down here to about 3 5/8. I'll make it 3 5/8. Okay, so what I've done is I measured out. This was 3 3/4. And this is for the drawer front. I got my width, I just took this to the side and I traced it. I cut it on the bandsaw. So now I'm just gonna sand to this line. So here's the dilemma. I'll just turn my camera here a little bit. So when I put this up against here now, you're seeing the drawer sticking up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sand this to the line. I'm gonna secure this like I normally would once the drawer is in place. Then I'm going to take a router with a bearing on it and just follow this contour and just cut all this out to the same as this. And then I will edge band this whole piece and it will look as one. So I'm going to take this over to the sander and get this all sanded up. So I decided to go with the 3/4 inch top, and it's all edge banded, ready to go. I clamped it down. I used a 1/2 inch reveal all the way around, and I'm just going to screw it from underneath. I was going to go with an inch top, but I stood back and looked at it, and it looks way better with the 3/4 inch top.
I apologize for my voice. I've been sick for a whole week straight, so it's been kicking the shit out of me actually. But I gotta get going here because I've been out of the shop for too long. So my next step now is to remove all the drawers, take all the hardware off, and get ready for stain. The color that I'm using is Provincial. And I'm going to put one coat, I'm going to brush it on and wipe it off. And I'm only going to do one coat of this. Okay, now I'm going to start staining the drawer fronts. I'm not going to be staining the drawers. I want to keep it that natural color. Leave it a two-tone, so we're going to leave those out. But I will do all the drawer fronts. Now that the stain has dried for a few hours, I'm going to spray a sand and sealer, followed by a Vericure 20% sheen. Now that this is all dry, it's ready for assembly. I'm going to start by putting all the drawer slides on and all the drawers. And this build is all done just in time for Christmas. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.